Hey everyone. This is kind of a strange topic to talk about because I can probably understand where people are coming from. I skimmed through the series to kind of see how, what people were talking about. And, I could see what some of the complaints are coming from, where some of the criticism and negativity is coming from. But I think this is an old saying. In fact, one person, I think on the decider.com or decoder.com, whatever the website is, talked about this. We've got to realize that anytime a show does a complete reboot or complete retcon, that it's just going to retell the story of something we already know. But they're doing it for a newer generation, so that newer generation can have an understanding. Is it a surprise? Does it become an unexpected surprise when the generation that grew up with the previous versions become attracted to the newer version and become fans of it? If not, create communities and fan bases based off it? Does it become a complete surprise when that happens? Absolutely. Again, as I've mentioned before, and many other people have mentioned before, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is probably the biggest example of a reboot of a franchise for a newer, younger generation becoming more than what it was originally intended to be, and surpassing all expectations, breaking down the areas of age, gender, and fan base overall, and became something more that even Lauren Faust, Megan McCarthy, M.A. Larson, all those involved with Friendship is Magic, didn't expect to see or even hear happen, and yet it did. So sometimes a reboot can work so well that even those that grew up with the original concept can become fans of it. But then there are those soft reboots, those soft retcons that we may or may not be fans of. And what those are basically is continuations of an original storyline still based in the same continuity and world and timeline, if you will, that the previous incarnation was set in. The only difference is you're restructuring it and you're rebooting it for a new generation to watch and see, and you're doing it in a way that makes it not necessary for them to have to go back and watch the original, because even though there's going to be references and acknowledgments that it is a continuation of somewhat, it's basically been retconned and rebooted softly enough, or just enough, to act on its own, to be its own thing. And that's where the Magic School Bus Rides Again comes in. The Magic School Bus Rides Again is a new series based on the Magic School Bus series, the Magic School Bus book series. The original Magic School Bus came out around the early 90s, about 1993, 1994, and lasted for 4 seasons. Yeah, it lasted for 4 seasons. And it kept being reran on PBS, syndication, Fox, you name it, it got reran. So imagine everybody's surprise about a month ago or so when word got out that Netflix was releasing a continuation. Yeah, a sequel, a spin-off, or a sequel basically to the original series. A soft retcon reboot continuation called The Magic School Bus Rides Again. Imagine people's reactions when they saw the trailer, and one of the first things they see is the original Miss Frizzle, once again voiced by Lily Tomlin, tossing the keys of the bus to her younger sister, who has the same last name of Frizzle, but is voiced by Kate McKinnon. Imagine the reaction watching that trailer to the animation, to the flash animation that's used, or to the adventures, in those educational adventures that the new Miss Frizzle and the kids were going to go on. Imagine the reaction when they saw possibly only one transformation that the kids and the new Miss Frizzle were going to do in this series. You could probably understand the negativity, the frustration. I could as well. Don't get me wrong. I could see where they feel that the flash animation isn't on par with flash animation you would see used for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, or Transformers Robots in Disguise. I can understand that. Or even DuckTales, the new rebooted DuckTales. I can understand that. I can understand when they look at it, they look at a flash animation that's similar to what they've seen with Dora. That's Dora and Friends, the spin-off series Pedro, and many others. Some of the Barbie ones. According to some people, some of the Barbie animated shorts or shows have had the same flash animation. The Lego Friends. A whole bunch just to name. A whole bunch more, or to name, and I don't have the time to do that. Again, many more of the series to name, and I don't have really much time to do that. But again, I can see where that common complaint can come in. You have flash animation here that looks similar to what you would see with some of those shows like the Lego Friends the Lego Friends series, or some of the Barbie shorts, or what you see with Dora, the Dora series. I can get that. I understand that. I can also understand how some people pointed out that unlike her older sister, this new Miss Frizzle never really seems to come in at most times. There are exceptions, I believe, but at most times doesn't come in or arrive in the class with a unique look. Basically with a unique outfit to wear that's going to concede, or is going to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to have any connection. It's going to have any connection to what the lesson for that day or the educational adventure they're going to go on has. You see, the original Miss Frizzle would always have a different outfit at most times that would coincide. That's the word I'm looking for. Coincide with the educational adventure they would go on. This new Miss Frizzle, according to some, doesn't even do it that much. She always sticks with the same outfit for a majority of the time, except maybe when they go on an educational adventure, and she needs to have a certain outfit to wear for said educational adventure. But another thing, though, that I think really gets on people's nerves, and maybe is another criticism, is the biggest difference between both shows is the original Miss Frizzle, when she would take her students out on these educational adventures, there would be a majority of these adventures that they would go on, they would need to be transformed into whatever coincided with that educational adventure. In season 2, they became water droplets, evaporated air, a cloud, all to kind of show the cycling of how rain and water and all that works. In the second to last episode of the series, they became different kind of animals that could be let loose in a city, that you would see run loose in a city if they don't know their way around. Like possums, foxes, you name it. And that was the one thing, those things that I mentioned from the original Frizzle having unique outfits that coincided with the educational adventure they would be going on. Or or Miss Frizzle turning herself and the students into the bus into whatever they needed to be for that educational adventure. Fans have pretty much pointed out that, in a way, critical wise, they've pointed out that you don't really see it that much with this new one. That the only closest thing that you get maybe to the students and this new Miss Frizzle becoming anything coinciding with the lesson they are learning is in the second episode of the series. When the kids become trees and Miss Frizzle and the new Miss Frizzle, along with one of the students, I think Keisha is her name, become leaves that get blown in the wind in to see what it's like to blow through different trees. So, if that's the only transformation that they hear about and see in the trailer, then maybe that is another negative reason for them not to like the series. Maybe the Flash animation being similar to the shows I mentioned, like Dora and some of the Barbies and Legos and all that, maybe that's another reason. Maybe the Miss Frizzle character is a reason too. But let me point something out, okay? Let me point something out, alright? A lot of people have said that this new series, that have come to the defense of it, have said that it's for kids. Now you might say, well, isn't that what people say about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Again, going back to something I said. There are going to be soft retcons and reboots of series that are continuations from others that, just like with complete reboots and retcons, will capture the imagination and the attention of all ages and transcend and beyond the original creators' original intentions and expectations. That's what My Little Pony Friendship is Magic did. It exceeded and went beyond the original expectations and intentions that Lauren Faust had created for it, and ended up drawing in an adult fan base that obviously she and those currently working on the show didn't see coming or didn't see happening. Yet it's happened. Yet it's happened and is still happening to this very day and still continuously growing to this very day. But then on the other hand, you have soft retcons and reboots, or complete reboots and retcons that are done completely for the younger generation in mind. And that's what Magic School Bus Rides Again is. Yes, it's a continuation of a series we grew up in, that we, of all ages, grew up with in the 90s and enjoyed, for what it was, for its uniqueness, its innovation, stuff like that. We can be upset about, in our opinion, we can be upset at the fact that it's not what we remember. That if it's a continuation, it needs to stay true to what the original show was. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But you have to realize one thing, okay? Realize this. Did any of us as kids, adolescents, teenagers, that watched this show back in 1990, when it began in 1984, did any of us think it was going to last because it was a purely educational show? Well, not purely educational, but had educational values and the educational adventures and lessons thrown in there. Did we think it was going to last as long as it did? No, because pretty much we were getting more education shoved down our throats with this series than what we had already gotten for the past 6 to 8 hours physically in school and in class. But yet there was something about this series that caught our attention, caught our imagination, and we wanted to see more. So put yourselves back in those shoes, okay? Did we think originally it was going to be good? The original series? No. But for some odd reason, it caught our attention, and we ended up watching and actually enjoying it. And I think one of the reasons was because of the unique character personality that they gave the Frizzle character. But the other reason is because we enjoyed seeing what Frizzle would do from a transformation standpoint of what she would turn the bus, the kids, and even herself into to coincide with said educational adventure lesson that they were going on. That's what kept our interest. But again, go back and remember, maybe a lot of us probably didn't even think it was going to last long because it was because it mostly had an educational message in it, educational lesson message in it. But yet, like I said, it lasted 4 years, 4 seasons. So when we look at this new one, we're pretty much doing the same thing over again, even though we should realize, oh, wait a minute, this is for the young generation of kids, adolescents, and teenagers that we were back when the original series came out that are around today. In other words, this series is created for that young kid, adolescent, teenage generation of today, just like the original was created for us back in the early to mid 90s. So we have to remember that it's just like the original when the first one came out. We didn't think as teenagers, adolescents, and kids that it probably would last long. But again, like I said, because of all the uniqueness it gave us, the transformations, the character development, and all that, it lasted for 4 seasons, beyond, I think, longer than the original creators intended it to. So when I look at people complain about this new series, I say this: you have a right to complain, you have a right to be critical, but there is one thing to say: give it a chance. Because you know what? What does that mean? Here's the thing. Let me look back at this. Let's look at the episodes. Were there many transformations that Frizzle and the kids went through in season 1? Frizzle herself, along with them? No. It wouldn't be until around season 2 in the following seasons that she would join the kids in becoming whatever was necessary to coincide with their educational adventure lesson of the day. So when I suggest to give the new series a chance, you don't have to if you don't want to. But when I come out and I suggest you should give it a chance, what I'm saying is, if the series comes back for a second season, and there's a strong possibility, knowing Netflix, it's going to, that second season may give you exactly what you want. It may give you more character development on the Frizzle character and the kids. It may give you more transformations of Frizzle and the kids turning into whatever they need to turn into to coincide with the educational adventure lesson that they are learning for that episode. So, and maybe the animation might improve. Like I said, the more it continues on, the more success it is, the better the animation can get. So, that's really all I can say on it. I say, my suggestion, just give it a chance. If you don't like it, that's fine. At least you tried. If you like it, hey, it might be the start of something new. It might be the start of the next big thing, if you know what I mean. But again, my suggestion is just give it a chance. Because you know what? If it gets another season, you might start getting what you would have expected from the original, if you catch my drift. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I will talk to you later. I am out.